Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Monday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios. Appreciate you making us a part of your start. If you are already up and at it, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. You've got your smart devices like your Alexa speakers, the app, download it, take it on the go. And video stream also up and rolling on YouTube this morning. But again, hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new week starting today. What do we have on the game plan for us? Brewers, fantastic weekend for the Brewer crew as they got the brooms out and swept the Marlins, highlighted by Wild Bill, William Contreras' walk-off 3-run shot in yesterday's game, as the Brewers came away with a 3-1 victory yesterday after being down 1-0. But Brewers will be back at it tonight, beginning a series against the Mets, where Jacob Misiorowski will get to start for the Brewers, and he is scheduled to go up against former Brewer himself, Freddy. So it should be a fun game tonight. But Brewers, with their 3-game sweep, now improved to 62-37 on the season. And if you open up the week looking at the standings, the Brewers holding on to a 6-game lead over the Cubs for first place in the Central, 10.5 over both the Cardinals and Pirates, 16.5 games ahead of the Cincinnati Reds. The Brewers and Dodgers still the only two teams right now with 60 or more wins on the season. So plenty of baseball chat coming your way here when it's surrounding the Brewers, including an interesting trade rumor that is potentially out there for the Brewer crew as we inch a little bit closer and closer to that August 3rd trade deadline. So we'll hit that up and recap the weekend series from the Brewers and take a look ahead to this series with the Mets. A little bit more locally. The Eau Claire Express, a good weekend for the Express as well, as they picked up a 2-game sweep over Rochester, which means now the Eau Claire Express are in first place in the Great Plains East Division. So the Express now will be taking on Waterloo. They've got a doubleheader scheduled for today at Waterloo. First game is going to be at 12:35. Second game, 6:35. But with the regular season kind of wrapping up here pretty darn quick in just the next few weeks here, the Express are playing some really good baseball, 9-1 in their last 10 games, and sitting in first place by 1.5 over Rochester. But Waterloo is 3 games back, so big series here. Waterloo is on a 5-game losing streak, but we'll see if the Express can maybe push them a little bit further down in the standings. So I know we had some Legion baseball teams punch their tickets to the state tournament and such too, so we'll catch up on all that and recap it and preview it with our local sports roundup coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. So we got that on the docket with training camp beginning for some teams this week in the NFL. The Packers will officially begin next week. We will continue our training camp countdown series where we highlight some of the main storylines, things to watch once we get into training camp, or what will you be paying attention to? What will you be watching, and all that fun stuff. So we'll get to that coming up a little bit later on this morning, too. So got that. It is a VFW Post 305 Monday morning. So, or best and worst, brought to you by VFW Post 305. So you can send those on over via that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912, or you can hang out in the Section 105 chat room on our video stream. So send over what you think is the best and what is the worst from this past weekend. We want to hear from you. So, but that's kind of your game plan for us this morning. Lots of baseball chat mixed in with a little football chat as we get closer and closer to the start of training camp. Oh, World Cup is in the books too. Forgot to mention that. But Spain is your World Cup champions as they took down Argentina in extra time yesterday, 1-0. So the World Cup is in the books. So now all those football stadiums are getting set for American football to be put on there. So, but yeah, gotta throw that in there too. So that's your game plan for us this morning. So let's pitter patter, let's get at her, shall we? We'll take our first break as we get things going here this morning. We'll open it up talking some Brewers baseball. Brew Crew, fantastic weekend for the Milwaukee Brewers as they get a sweep over the Marlins and now set up for a series against the struggling Mets. We'll recap and preview that series, plus kind of go through some of the latest rumors and rumblings surrounding the Milwaukee Brewers as we get a little bit closer and closer to the trade deadline. Brandon Woodruff also spoke over the weekend, too. We'll tell you what he had to say about what's the plan for his shoulder going forward. It's not great, and you have to wonder if we're ever going to see Brandon Woodruff suit up for the Brewers again. So, but we'll talk about that as well. Brewers heavy here this morning. We'll take our first break and get things going here on the leadoff. Coming up after these quick words. Summer road trips create some great memories, but you know what? Sometimes accidents do happen. We don't like to think about it, but they do. And if a fender bender puts a dent into your plans, you can trust the fine folks, our good friends at Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, to get your vehicle looking like new again. Their experienced team provides quality collision repair and attention to detail that helps restore your vehicle and your peace of mind. When life bumps into your vehicle, you can count on the fine folks at Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, located on Farwell Street. And you can check out their website, too, for more details about Superior Auto Body, superiorautobodyinc.com. Let's get things going here this morning as we open it up talking some Brewers. We've got Justin joining us here for a little bit as well. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning.
Brew Crew this past weekend off the All-Star break. And, well, I mean, they can't ask for a better start coming off the All-Star break, taking a 3-game sweep over the Marlins, especially when you look at it, too, that Brewers went up against arguably the 3 best starters in this Marlins rotation. So going back to Friday night's game to open up this 3-game series, the first game out of that All-Star break. The Brewers, what are we? Oh, got sidetracked here. Don't get sidetracked with Twitter and social media running in the background. But extra inning game, 2-1 victory for the Brewers as Craig Yoho getting his first career win in that contest as well. So you had a couple hits from Garrett Mitchell. Garrett Mitchell kind of picking up where he left off before the All-Star break, too. Good weekend for Mr. Garrett Mitchell. But Brewers taking a 2-1 victory in Game 1 of this series, where Logan Henderson got the start in that game, too. No decision for him, obviously, with Craig Yoho picking up the win, but going 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 4 Ks. Did give up a solo shot. So quality start from Logan Henderson in Friday night's game. And then you look to Saturday's game, an 8-6 victory for the Brewers after the Marlins jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the second. Shane Drowan getting credited with the win. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, getting charged with those 3 earned runs in that second inning, but he did strike out 9 batters. Brewers putting up 4 runs in the 6th. along with a couple more in the seventh for to take the lead, or to add some insurance, I should say. Things got dicey in the top of the ninth with Craig Yoho struggling a little bit. Trevor McGill had to come in and shut it down after the Marlins hit that 3-run shot in the ninth inning. But Trevor McGill locking it down for his 15th save of the season. Brewers picking up that at least a series win with that win on Saturday. And then yesterday, in a low-scoring affair, a very low-scoring affair, Brewers going into the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth inning, down 1-0 after the Marlins putting up a run in the top of the third. Not a lot of offense going throughout most of the day for the Brewers, but Jackson Chourio getting things started off in the bottom of the ninth. Terrain gets on. Then Vaughn, he strikes out, and up steps William Contreras, who didn't start the game, but goes up there and hits a 3-run shot, a walk-off home run for the Brewers to complete the sweep against the Marlins. Robert Gasser also going 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, striking out 5, no walks. A nice performance from him after the last time we saw him was that final game against the Pirates before the All-Star break. So Brewers completing this 3-game sweep, now improved to 62-37 on the season. Let's start off with the pitching with Logan Henderson and Shane Drowan and Robert Gasser. Not bad performances from those 3 starters to open up this season there, Justin.
No, they all looked fantastic, and Henderson probably could have went longer on Friday, but I remember he had some forearm cramping. Mm-hmm. But I believe after the game he said he felt better already, so it shouldn't be anything to really worry about, hopefully. But no, Drowan pitched well, and Gasser pitched exceptionally yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Drowan, I mean, outside that one inning where he gave up 3 earned runs, settled down nicely after that and put together a very good performance. So, I mean, you look at those 3 starters, and then you compare it to the Marlins arguably throwing their top 3 starters, and the fact that the Brewers were able to pick up a series sweep, because this is not a Marlins team that's bottom of feeding team or anything like this. It's a team that's competing for a playoff spot, and I think they opened up the week maybe in that final wild card spot in the National League or hovering right around it. So, I mean, a very, very good opening second, quote-unquote, second half of the season for this Brewer squad taking down this Marlins team. But what are your thoughts on the series? You got a few people texting in right now saying, great weekend for the Brewers, easily my best of the weekends, says Ben. And Dave on the texting line saying best of the weekend is William Contreras with that walk-off home run yesterday. So, but also from this past weekend, we got news that Brandon Woodruff, talking a little bit to the media on his bobblehead day on Saturday. It was kind of, I mean, Pat Murphy talking Friday didn't paint a very good picture, an outlook of what the news was going to be. And initially, Brandon Woodruff was going to talk on Sunday, but I think, kind of after some of the comments from Murphy and speculation that was going on Friday, they moved it up to Saturday. But Brandon Woodruff is going to have to go under season-ending shoulder surgery again. He will at least part of the 2027 season, if not all the 2027 season. But he does not plan to retire, and he's going to attack this rehab with the goal in mind of pitching again. But, man, I got to expect that I can't see the Brewers doing another thing where they sign they sign Brandon Woodruff to a 2-year extension like they did last time, let him rehab for a year, and then hope for the second year. I don't know if we're going to see Brandon Woodruff pitch in a Brewers uniform again.
I think he's done. Mm-hmm. We're not going to see it again. It's unfortunate, but for a small market team that, doesn't, I don't want to say they don't like to spend money. I think they just keep their budget kind of tight. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it works. You can't just take a gamble on a guy like that and hope that it gets better and hope that he can pitch again.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it stinks for a guy like Brandon Woodruff, because I mean, he's done nothing but, work his tail off to to be back at this point and to with the goal in mind in spring training, you go back. His goal was to pitch in October for the Brewers, and I mean when he was out there this year, he looked really good. But I don't know. I mean, I hope wherever he does pitch, if he does try to come back and pitch, you hope nothing but success. But man, from a mental standpoint too, just to go through this again, it's got to be incredibly tough, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised he didn't hang it up, because I know he has at least one kid, if not more.
He just had the birth of another one this past weekend.
Yeah, you would think that he would just want to spend time there and maybe hang it up, be done, because I don't know. You got to think, how much pain is he going to be in too after all this is said and done? I mean, you would think he would just maybe take some time, but I mean, good for him that he wants to pitch, but I don't see it in a Brewers uniform.
Yeah, I don't see it either. And, maybe another team will give him another shot. I don't know if the future outlook for him is better as a bullpen guy, short inning type of guy, if that's going to be kind of the game plan after that. But, I mean, gosh, I would imagine that no team's probably going to sign him this offseason, so that when he is cleared, he might have, we've seen this before from a lot of players, it's almost like a pro day again, tryouts where they're throwing and then open for scouts and front office. So we'll see after that. But yeah, this is a guy too that I get it. He's making $20 million this year, but you go back to the initial injury, he was probably set to get a long-term extension from somewhere, probably not for the Brewers, but from somewhere, and he was going to get a nice payday. And you look at it, man, that really not only derailed his career from a performance standpoint, but from a financial standpoint as well, like a long-term financial standpoint, especially with the uncertain baseball labor disputes and agreements. I can't see the Brewers or any other team doing another thing where they're going to lock him up or give him another extension for 2 years, let him rehab, and then come back after that. So I don't see that. So, but I can't find Santana's the only pitcher who had two. Man, that's something I was wondering too. How many of these pitchers have come back from two similar injuries to pitch at a high level? And I don't even think Santana was back to his Johan Santana was back to his self when he had those two surgeries. Especially not what he was doing with Minnesota when he was over there. So.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that same surgery kept him out all of 2024 as well for Woodruff.
Yep. So we'll see. I know this one he suffered a little bit earlier, so that's why they're probably saying, most of 2027 for next year. But I would imagine if I were a betting person, I'd probably say probably not 2027 either. But it stinks. It definitely stinks for a guy like Brandon Woodruff. But again, other than that, a good weekend for the Brewers. Sal Frelick is also on the injured list. Should throw that out there, too, dealing with right shoulder issues. So something that he has been dealing with for a while, it sounds like. So the Brewers putting him on the injured list. Just more opportunities for Luis Lara in that starting lineup. But the Brewers did call up Blake Perkins to fill that spot temporarily. So, but all right, we got to take a quick break here. Let's start to look ahead to the upcoming series with the Mets. Got former friend Freddy Peralta slated to get the start. The Brewers adjusting their starting rotation. Initially, Mizorowski wasn't going to pitch until Tuesday, but they flip-flopped him and Brandon Sproat. So we get Mizorowski and Freddy Peralta for tonight. Let's preview this upcoming series coming up here after these quick words. Summer is here, and that means it is time to hit the road in something that you love. And at Toyson Ford, you will find a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles ready for every adventure. Looking for some power? How about comfort and reliability? Hey, they've got it all. Backed by a team that's committed to making your car buying experience easy and stress-free. So whether it's a weekend getaway or your daily drive, make sure that you're riding in style this summer. That's Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, where your next journey begins. Next journey for the Brewers is this series with the Mets starting tonight. 6:40 first pitch. Jacob Mizorowski going for the Brew Crew. You've got former friend Freddy Peralta getting slated for the start for the Mets tonight. Mizorowski looking do we say bounce back? I mean, he did pick up a win against the Cardinals back on the 7th when he went 7 innings, but gave up 3 earned runs, did strike out 11. Picked up a loss against Cincinnati back on the 2nd, where he went 5 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, though, and struck out 10. But we'll see if this maybe extended break for Mizorowski helped out his shoulder, helped out his arm, going through the fatigue that has been out there. So I'm excited to see what kind of version or what we're going to get with Mizorowski. Is he going to look refreshed and ready to go with a few extra days off here? But something definitely, I think, to kind of watch here, Justin.
I think he'll look refreshed. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out in 104 right off the bat, just to show people that he's back. I'm excited. I know he commented about facing Freddy tonight. He said it'd be fun, but he's on the other team, so he's got to basically take care of business. So it'll be a fun matchup to watch, I think.
And I think Freddy obviously is probably going to be a little amped up coming back home to American Family Field in front of a lot of his teammates, going up against a lot of his teammates. There's familiarity on both sides from hitters and obviously with Freddy going up against them too. So should be a lot of fun to watch. Freddy obviously not having the season, and the Mets overall not having the season that they envisioned at the beginning of everything, but kind of maybe a dare I say audition for Freddy Peralta for the Brewers, because there was a report over the weekend by Hector Gomez that said that the Brewers now possibly interested in acquiring these services of one Freddy Peralta. Hector Gomez, MLB Insider, saying the Brewers have emerged as the top suitor for Freddy Peralta. The Braves and Rays have also shown a lot of interest in him as well. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it, if they reacquired Freddy Peralta? Because I would imagine that they're not going to have to give up as much as what the Mets gave up to acquire Freddy Peralta to begin with. So, and plus it's a little bit cheaper already because you're prorated salary entering free agency. Would you welcome that move if it just acquired maybe one prospect at Double-A if it wasn't one of their top prospects or whatever the case may be?
I would 100% do that. I would love it. I've always liked Peralta. I know he hasn't had the best luck going deep into games, but I would love to see him back, even for just the short run through the summer, especially with all the pitching injuries and luck that they've had. And I know they've got I think they've got 2 more really long stretches coming up, so it wouldn't hurt to have another trusted arm.
Yeah. One, it would be funny. 2, they're obviously very familiar with him already, so there would not have to be an adjustment. I think the clubhouse would absolutely love it. I mean, you're bringing in a guy that has, been there throughout the majority part of his career, pitched a lot of innings. The one thing you do get with Freddie, too, that I think kind of gets underrated a lot is he is available. Like, he's been pretty darn healthy throughout the majority part of his career. And, with the Brewers going through some little bit of injuries with some of their pitchers, you kind of get, a very stable presence with Freddy Peralta because you can almost rely on him that he's going to be there every 5-6 days. He's been pretty darn healthy throughout the majority of his career.
Yeah, I can't remember him having any really major health concerns. So
no.
I would welcome it back for sure. And I remember in the offseason, Pat Murphy said that he was a leader for some of the guys in the clubhouse. Yeah. I would love to see it back.
Yeah.
And it would take the possibility of him going to Chicago away too.
Yeah. So. Brandon Woodruff, not obviously pitching anymore. I know they brought in Lance McCullers, so you do have a veteran in that aspect, but he's got an injury history too. I don't know how much you could count on that. If you added a guy like Freddy Peralta, and I know he doesn't give you a lot of innings, but maybe that works for this plan here too for the Brewers because they've got all these options. They want to try to get these guys as fresh as possible for a potential postseason run here. You'd have some flexibility with these pitchers. If you add Freddy Peralta in there, maybe he just gives you 5 innings, but you've got all these other guys, whether it's coming out of the bullpen or piggyback starts, that that can give you multiple innings here too. I don't know if I can see this happening, but I would welcome it if this actually is a legit rumor and report out there. Or maybe it's like what we see a lot of times in sports. The Brewers are used as that team to draw up the asking price for other teams. Andrew Brandt always said this about the Packers back in the day when he worked with the Packers, saying, teams would call him and say, hey, can we just say that you guys are interested in our player? And he's like, if that's going to drop the price with our competition, go for it. So maybe it's a little bit of a gamesmanship with this because it makes sense. The Brewers might need a veteran starter. Is it just a ploy or a play from the Mets to draw up a little bit more from Braves or Rays or whoever needs a starting pitcher? Possibly. But if it's a possibility that you can bring back Freddy Peralta, you don't have to commit a lot of money to him in the now or the future, and you probably don't have to give up a ton of prospects. Hey, I'm open for that. Absolutely. Why not? It's a need, and let's do it. Especially if it's because you're not going to get. Brewers don't have to send back like Brandon Sproat or Jet Williams, right? That's not going to happen. It's like buying a car off the lot. It's going to depreciate in value. And right now, when you look at Freddie's numbers, it's going to depreciate the value. So I'd 100% be open for this. I just the chances that that's going to happen, I'm going to like 30%, I might say.
Yeah, it's not very high, but
never say never, right?
Yeah.
Never say never. So what about the rest of you? Would you like to see the return of Freddy Peralta to this Brewers rotation? What do you say? Hit us up, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Or is it going to be dependent on what he does tonight? If he goes out there and shuts down this lineup, well, maybe that's let's get her done here. But, I hope it's almost one of those where it's like, man, if Freddy Peralta is like a legit possibility for the Brewers, you kind of want to maybe get a little bit of a glimpse what he can give you again tonight. But at the same time, we want to pick up that W, and Jacob Mizorowski just blows the doors off of everybody. So, but that trade deadline those trade rumors are really going to spike up here in the coming days here. Reminder, it is August 3rd for that trade deadline. So I'll tell you what, let's take our last break for this hour, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the rumors that are out there surrounding Major League Baseball with the trade deadline approaching here in the next couple of weeks, and see if any of these names could be good targets, good options for the Brewers. So we'll take our final break and wrap up the first hour, continue to talk some baseball, but maybe kind of taking a look at some trade targets here for the Brew Crew. Plus, we'll preview this upcoming series a little bit more in depth with the Mets coming up here too. So quick break. We'll be back after these few words. Looking for the perfect summer hangout? Well, you need to make your way on over to the VFW Post 305, located on 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. You can enjoy some beautiful views overlooking the river, some great food, some cold beverages, and some of the best live local music that you will find anywhere in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're meeting some friends after work or maybe spending a summer evening outdoors, the VFW Post 305 is the place to be. Great views, great music, great times. That's the VFW Post 305, again, located 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. All right, so we've got MLB.com's got a good breakdown of some potential trade targets out there for various teams to trade or not to trade. Nationals is kind of interesting here. They got Abrams and Foster Griffin, but Nationals, I don't know if they would be sellers at this point because, they're still in the chase for at least a wild card spot. So, I think, first of all, I think this is going to be a big couple weeks for a lot of these teams to figure out whether they're going to be buyers or sellers. I know a lot of teams are still in it, but Nationals are in that tricky spot because they're hovering right around 500, so right at 500 at this point in time, and they're only a couple games back from a playoff spot. So, but maybe if they go on a little bit of a losing streak, that could change it, or they go on a winning streak that could solidify them as not being sellers at the trade deadline. So Luis Arraez, he wants to, I think he said the other day, if he gets traded, he wants to stay at second base. So that's not a fit for the Brewers then. So, otherwise, you've got Jose Soriano from the Angels. I think he's been mentioned as a Brewers target for the last couple of years. But Skubal, that's still going to be the main out there. But Freddy Peralta, going back to him, it says here, the Mets have let it be known that they are ready to sell, reportedly telling rival executives that anyone other than Nolan McLean, Carson Benji, A.J. Ewing, Christian Scott, and Juan Soto are available at the right price. We're not holding our breath for deals involving Francisco Lindor, Bo Bichette, or Marcus Semien yet, but New York's impending free agents will almost certainly be moved. Peralta would typically be coveted armor on the deadline. The right-hander has been consistently inconsistent all season. 5-8 with a 4.66 ERA entering Sunday, posting a 6.05 ERA over his last 10 starts. One of those was a 10-run implosion against the Phillies on June 20th, but Peralta hadn't completed 6 innings in a start in more than a month and may not be viewed as a frontline starter by contenders. Peralta is the interesting one, too, because I'd be curious if he's one of those players. Maybe he's just better suited in a smaller market, or how much would he benefit maybe teaming up again with Contreras? Because it was a few weeks ago, there was that piece that Peralta was calling his own pitches for the first time in his career. Would he be better suited going back to a Chris Hook and Jim Henderson coaching duo, but also Contreras, behind the dish? So it's that comfortability factor. Again, I know we kind of already talked about it, but man, this might be, if you could get pennies on the dollar for Freddy Peralta and he comes back into a situation where he's more comfortable, because I would imagine he would welcome going back to the Brewers. It's a contending team. It's a franchise he's incredibly familiar with, all those teammates, the coaching staff. The more I think about it, the more I kind of want this to happen, because I think that could be a pretty darn good move for the Brewers. Yeah, I don't know about you, but
he doesn't cost a lot. The season he's having and where the Mets are should make his price considerably lower. And like you said, it could be a familiarity, small market thing. We saw Devin Williams leave, went to the Yankees and the Mets. He hasn't had great years in really either. Mm-hmm. And then if you remember Jeremy Jeffries many years ago,
yeah, that's a good point.
He would come back to the Brewers. He would dominate. He'd look good. They usually would trade him away. He'd struggle elsewhere, and then he came back. I think he came back 3 or 4 times in his career. So I would welcome it. I would love to see it. See if the same thing can kind of happen.
Because he opened up the season with just $8 million in payroll, so that's prorated. You're talking about less than $4 million you'd probably have to pay him the rest of the year.
And the Mets might even eat some of that, too.
Yeah. So why not? That's if it's because it's going to be pennies on the dollar. The more I think about this, the more I like it and the more I'm intrigued with this. Why not? You get to pair him up with, like we said, Contreras. Let Chris Hook work his magic with some of these pitchers. That if there's one thing that I feel good about or confident or give the benefit of the doubt is when the Brewers do bring in pitchers, it feels like more times than not, they get the most out of these guys. I'm still kind of on the fence about McCullers Jr. just because from an injury standpoint, but it almost seems like they were maybe targeting Gordon a little bit more to work with him, it feels like. So I don't know if McCullers was maybe just kind of an add-on sort of thing, but yeah, I like it. I like this potential.
I think they took McCullers basically to give them Gordon. It was basically, we'll take this off your hands, and then they basically just kind of bought Gordon and took McCullers, who's going to be coming out of the bullpen, they said. So I'm curious, would you be comfortable giving up Coleman Crow for Peralta?
Ooh.
Because I know we were talking about a double-A guy, but the Mets, based on how they gave us 2 prospects, they might want somebody a little bit closer to MLB ready. Mm-hmm. And Crow's got a lot of team control.
Yeah.
I don't see a double. I'm not sure if a double A guy gets it done with what they already gave us.
Right. Yeah, and that might be the other part in it too, is if they go back to the Brewers, just kind of, well, we gave you these guys, and now it looks like the Brewers have won this trade, even though we haven't seen Jet Williams at the major league level, but the optimism is still there surrounding him. Coleman Crowe is interesting because he's got a killer curveball. That breaking ball is just, it's sick. It's sick to watch. He almost reminds me a little bit the talk about Logan Henderson last year, where he just maybe needed to develop a little bit more, maybe some more pitches. So, I mean, if that's the outlook for him, that's a tough one, too, because, I mean, they've got so many young pitchers, and then I'm assuming Quinn Priester will be back next year, so you throw him as, because you got Mizorowski under control, Logan Henderson, you throw in a Robert Gasser, potentially, Kyle Harrison,
Brandon Sproat,
Shane Drowan,
Quinn Priester. And now, if you want to say Chad Patrick, if he gets a stab at a starter role, I mean, that's 8 pitchers right there. And I don't know if they have any starters. I mean, this just says pitchers, but I don't know if they have any starters in AAA or guys who might potentially make the jump from AA and skip it with like a good spring training. I mean, Crowe might not really have a place. That's why I'm thinking, like, yeah, he's had some success. He's got that killer curveball, but is there a spot for him?
Right. Because that curveball works great until they can time it out, right? I mean, that was kind of the chat about Henderson last year. He was kind of just a couple pitches, and until he developed a little bit more of an arsenal. And maybe Coleman Crowe can do that. But, yeah, I mean, at some point, I mean, how many times have we talked about this with the Brewers farm system? It's great, but you might have to clear out that depth and make some of these moves. Otherwise, okay, what's a great farm system going to do to you if you're just going to keep them stashed in AAA and AA?
Well, and I mean, it's the thing of they just released Eddie Leonard over, I think, right before the Marlins thing, and I wonder if that was if he asked because somebody needed a promotion with the Hamilton injury, and instead of promoting anybody, they go out and get Shoemake. So I wonder if that was hey, release me because there's nowhere to move up. I think you might have to clear out a little bit of depth, and if that requires a move, even if it's bringing in Peralta, who hasn't had the best season, I would love to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like just kind of peruse into the texting line. It looks like it is a wide thumbs up yes for Freddy Peralta, which probably isn't too shocking to see that from a lot of fans. A couple people said no, but I'd say about 95% saying yes for Freddy.
And I know he hasn't had the best track record, but he does give you playoff experience, which Mizorowski has, Patrick has, and that might be it out of the starters. So,
and I think too, Freddy, when he was with the Brewers, yes, he was probably their number one guy, their ace. If he were to come back, he's not that guy. He doesn't need to be that guy, right? I mean, maybe that takes a little bit off the shoulders because when he goes to the Mets, he was viewed as the number one guy. If he comes back to the Brewers, it's Miss, it's Harrison, it's all these other guys. You're talking about Freddy Peralta as a back-end starter now? Why not? Right? I mean, and like you mentioned, that playoff experience that he comes in. And playoffs, yeah, we know Freddy doesn't go deep. If you can get to the playoffs with him and you get 4 strong innings out of Freddy Peralta, I'll take that. Because you've got so many other options of pitchers that can give you length at that point. And if it helps adding a guy like Peralta to keep Mizorowski, Kyle Harrison, Brandon Sproat, Shane Drowan a little bit more fresher when we get to the postseason, hey, whatever helps that, I'd be all for it. So
I would take 4 strong innings in a playoff game 10 times out of 10. And I think that pressure about Freddy Peralta, if he doesn't have to be the front end guy, I think he always pitches better as kind of that second, third, or fourth option. I think he looked a little bit better when Burns and Woodruff kind of were the top guys of the rotation. I mean, if he can even come back, give you that 3.5 ERA, I'll take it.
Yeah, I agree because last year, I mean, for the Brewers, he was solid, 2.70, 17 wins. Yeah, didn't go deep into games. We know. I mean, he's a guy that's not going to give you 7 innings. He's not going to give you, that depth. But Brewers would have the luxury of already knowing that, right? They already know what Freddy Peralta can give you. They already know what he's capable of, so you can game plan around that. So now I've talked myself into it even more. I kind of want this to happen. So now I'm getting my hopes up for it to happen. But is he on pace? Let's just. For another 200 strikeout season? Is he on pace for that again, or
he's at 104? So he'd really have to kick it up these last few months. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, because last year was 204, the year before that 200, then 210. So I don't see that happening.
He might have 10 more games in him. He'd have to get about 10 strikeouts a game.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but. Continue to send us your thoughts. What do you think about Peralta as a potential Brewers target? Would you welcome him back to Brewtown? Hit us up, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. So we'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up here as we approach the end of the hour. We got a few more texts to get to here, too. It is a VFW post at 3:05, best and worst from the weekend. So if you'd like to continue to send over your best and worst from the weekend, please do so. All right. So share it with the rest of the class. So we'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. We've got some football talk as we get set for training camp starting next week already for the Packers. Some teams, players already reporting, and they're going to get started this week already. It's almost football season, believe it or not, too. So we'll continue our Packers training camp countdown series, taking a look at what are the top things that we're going to be looking at when we get to Packers training camp, whether it's been positions or certain players or maybe even coaches. So we'll continue that countdown coming up here a little bit later on. So World Cup, if you want to give your thoughts, I had a couple people texting in about how much they enjoyed the World Cup this year. So if you want to give us your take on that, feel free to share it with the rest of the class too. So you can send those on over if you'd like to. But reminder, tonight's Brewers Mets game, 6:40 first pitch. Coverage will begin on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM, 35 minutes prior at 6:05. So looking forward to seeing the Miz back out on the mound for the first time post All-Star break here. Brewers opening up today with second best record still in all of Major League Baseball. Brewers and Dodgers still the only two teams in Major League Baseball with 60 or more wins. All right, we've got some news updates, and we'll be back in